So really quick, guys, when you have an awakening, sometimes well, I don't know, like everyone's awakening is, I guess, different, but what I recognize awakening being is something, for example, like I had briefly watched a reading of a man named that calls himself the original master on YouTube, the tarot reader. And he, unfortunately, he was crying, and I was like, damn, baby, what happened? When I saw his eyes red like that, he was crying as hell. And basically, he found out the picture that showed that it was his brother and him in jail, and they showed their mugshot. He knew his brother had perfect teeth, or one of the people basically in the picture wasn't his real brother, and they cloned him out or something like that. And then he found out it was real about them cloning. Well, I knew about that because I actually seen someone's cloning, and I confronted them about it, and then they didn't deny it. They just said, oh, maybe, they said it probably was, is what he said, which was a Freemason named David Leon Lofton, that is part of the Scottish Rite Freemasonry Lodge. And I told him I met his clone. Guess what? I don't see that man out there no more. He was everywhere, washing people cars, hustling, just like I was going to say, just like his daddy. Basically, the original is the daddy, I guess. And he was just a tad taller, slightly more muscle on him, but he did the same muscle movements, like the little jitters that man did. He spoke the same way. He had the same etiquette, the same everything, and just except for he was just a tad taller. I was like, for some reason, I thought, instead of me thinking that they were family, I thought that was his clone. And I said, I think I met your clone. He said, it probably was. That's all he said. So that's kind of like what an awakening is. For instance, for me, I think my biological dad, I realized a man my mom had went to see like maybe 2 to 5 times that I've met when I was a little kid. I was like a toddler, no more than 5 years old. And she went to, or actually, I take that back because I think I was around 6 or 7 when my mom went to him for the final time when she took me, but she realized I was too smart at that age. And she asked me to keep a secret. She was like, don't you tell your daddy nothing. She was serious in a mug, too. And I never said a word. But that's when I found out how relationships were. It kind of traumatized me because I knew at a young age sometimes relationships weren't as they were made to look like on the outside. Like people look like they doing so well, but on the inside they cheating. Both of their asses cheating. One, but the mom, she just did it a little bit more slick. But I think the dad already knew anyways, and that's why he did what he did as well. Um, but I guess the mom, she had emotions that were deeper, I guess, or more sensitive as a woman, so she handled it differently. Unless she was like my mom got a little bit stronger later on in life. They've been cheating on each other for years, but then people that say they've been together for years just know that like at least half the time, if not most of the time, them motherfuckers was cheating on each other, or at least one of them was cheating on somebody for part of that marriage, no, regardless of how long or how short it was. But because I've seen it in so many different people's marriages. It's not in every person's marriage. There are people that I believe are actually loyal out here, but from what I've seen when I grew up, it's not like as it seemed. My family try to like hang on to the fact my mom and dad was together for 25 years. Yeah, they were together and married for 25 years. That doesn't mean they were faithful and loyal to each other for the full 25 years, but at least they stuck it out. But anyways, the awakening I had is that man my mom used to go see on the side in the beginning, and then she finally stopped seeing him, and then my dad, after some years later, relocated because of his job to Oregon. Um, that may have been my dad. So I asked on my angel answer cards, and I got a yes a couple times. It came straight out. And then that lady, so Mr. Frank and I think Miss Viola, those were my family, I believe. I'm not exactly sure. I don't know. But I was like, wait a second. Could that have been my actual biological dad? My mom just didn't tell me. And how I figured it out is because of some sexual stuff that happened. And then somebody said something in a reading about your karmic father did some type of spell on you or something. They actually did molest you, but they put you under some spell so that you wouldn't remember. But I think that's what happened, because I remember something happened when my mom went to his house, Mr. Frank's house, and I think he lived in Miami-Dade, Florida. somewhere around there, maybe around Daytona Beach or something like that, and or West Palm Beach, somewhere in one of those cities, those tri cities. I don't know, but she went to go see him, and I remember I could tell that they did sexual activity because when I woke up, I don't know how I went to sleep, but when I woke up, I remember this stench, like this smell of like must, that was like mustiness of what what's associated when people, I guess are kind of sweaty, a dude that has hairy sweaty balls or something. And he like takes his underwear off, and that that stench was in the room. And I remember that, and I remember I was like, wait a second, I remember going to sleep. I don't think they may have given me something, but what if I was actually under some sort of, what if they did something and my mom actually sold me out to him at the same time at that he was, sexually active with him. Because people do shit like that. A Jamaican dude confessed to me like that one time, that he did something with the mom and the daughter. And people, they think they doing something, like they feel like they did that or they did something if they, have some sort of sexual act like that, like it actually happened. They feel like, you know, I it's kind of annoying to me though, because them feeling that way is what makes them think like getting away with doing it time and time again is doing something, like accomplishing some type of goal, and like especially the thrill of getting away with it, knowing that in society it may not be necessarily frowned upon, but it's not acceptable either. So I just wanted to share that so you guys can know what an awakening is, because some of you might wonder if it's something kind of scary. It can be scary when you have it's like basically a realization of some information, maybe something that like that was a truth in your face all along, but you never realized it until you got older. And my mom, she's passed away for about 2 years now, and unfortunately. And I'm starting to find out these truths, and now I see why, maybe she said some things that she said, which was she not gonna tell us something she ain't gonna tell us. And the way she said it was like she was ashamed of herself, and that she wouldn't want us to know anyways. Like she was trying, but she tried to play it off like she was hiding some sort of truths that were like, I guess, so secretive it'll put us up on game about her, and we ain't gonna never know about it. But I almost feel like B, we found out. But I'm sorry to say it like that, because my mom she was pretty vicious. I ain't gonna lie, she was vicious. But I guess I decided to share that because I also found out something else about me supposing to be having. I was allegedly supposed to have passed away in a hotel room, or already passed away, and I woke up and I remember hearing a woman run out of the room, because my hearing came first before my sight. Like it's like I became conscious again in the room, but before my eyes open, I heard what they were talking about. It's like I was listening first, and it freaked out. That bitch ran out that motherfucking room so fast, baby. When I tell you the Flintstones' feet ain't had nothing on that woman's feet, she was gone. I don't even. And she allegedly was in the room next door. That's the last I heard of her. I ain't hear or see that woman. Even if I saw her, I promise you, I probably wouldn't even realize it was her, because she was probably trying to be scary at the time. And back then, I wasn't as like aware as I am now, or even as aware as I was even the last couple years ago, or I should say five, even the last 4 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago. And there's something else I was going to share about, people who do the organ trafficking. Is orchestrated by the government, and like some people, not by the government, I mean to say there's public officials that be in on it, because they have hotel rooms that's next to funeral homes. And at the hotel that's next to the funeral home, don't be surprised if you see an ambulance truck that stays at the hotel. Don't be surprised if that's the ambulance driver who's going around helping to sacrifice in human traffic, well, organ traffic humans, because it happened on Katy Freeway in Houston, Texas, back at around 2008, the end of 2018 or beginning of 2019. And after that, I started getting heavily, like, I was being harassed, like things was going downhill in 2020. I wouldn't necessarily say gang stalk, but most likely that's what it was. And I found out the truth They couldn't kill me even then. They tried to kill me many different times. I'll say at least five different times that I can remember, four or five different times. And it was unsuccessful. So that's why now they just ultimately like resulted to gang stalking heavily, like trying to blackball me from working at jobs. That's why I give the glory to the Most High, Yeshua. I give the glory to the Most High, yeah, because I mean, what more can I ask for if he protected me all this time and still gave me life, and I'm still not doing as bad as I could be doing, even though they're trying to keep me from working. And I'm kind of like a workaholic. So that part in itself kind of drives me crazy a little bit, because I like to work, I like to be independent and make my own money for myself without having to ask people for it. And they want to orchestrate it to set it up so that I don't have that freedom. So just keep those things in mind. Have a good one.